I start, really. It was supposedly a simple process. We wanted to be able to scan a predetermined bubble sheet and display the answers that the student got correct or incorrect. And it was a long and winding road from that point forward. From the beginning, we thought it would be important to have a certain amount of resistance to stray or incorrect marks that the student would place on their answer sheet. As well as to be able to directly output the results of the grading onto the input photograph.
Okay. So to start this algorithm, we first had to invert and binarize the image. We inverted the image so that the bubbles were high intensity and would be easier to detect and for segmentation later on. So once we did that, we weren't even close to being done. What we had to do after was find a way to be able to detect the centers of each bubble in the bubble sheet. So we kind of use this method, this algorithm it's called the Huff transform. I can't do this.
In the places where several circles will be drawn, they will highlight the places where the circle centers will appear.
Sorry, I just... Okay, so we use the Huff transform, and basically the way it works is for each pixel in the edge, it draws a circle in what is called like the accumulation image. And that circle, you define its radius at the beginning. Like the name suggests, the circles and the accumulation image get accumulated. And what's insane is that at the point where those circles intersect, that point is the center of one of the circles we're trying to find in the original image. And in this way, the centers of the bubble and their exact locations can be detected just by tracing the edge detection image with a bunch of circles everywhere.
I'm in the right place, right? Once all of the bubbles are located, we see if they're filled in on the answer key. And in order to do this, we had to straighten out that answer key. And we did this Using Warp Pathfind. Oh my god. We use Warp Pathfind. And the 3 ground control points. This was to ensure the edges were aligned. And did pixel remapping. And so once the locations of each bubble on both of the sheets were found, we summed up the pixel values to see which answer was picked. So we summed up the pixel values of each bubble. And the one with the highest value meant it had the greatest sum and meant that that was the chosen answer. We did this to reduce error, since some sheets can be filled out incorrectly by students. And since each sheet is different, because each student is different, that means the contrast between each one is different as well. So a threshold has to be dictated.
We now come to the beginning of the end, comparing the detected answers to our answer key. For each bubble detected as an answer, a rectangle of code value 255 divided by 2, or 127, is drawn onto an empty black image of the same size as the original Scantron sheets. This process will result in an image filled with gray rectangles of the locations of answers, as well as the locations in which the user has marked their name, university identification, and additional information. We repeat for the key sheet, thus providing us with 2 images filled with gray rectangles. Finally, in an act of what can only be described as addition, these rectangle-filled images are added together. In any area in which the rectangles overlay, this implies that a correct answer has been found. This abides by the idea that for every location on the key and answer sheets and where the bubbles are both filled in, a correct answer is provided in this match. Separately, if an answer is incorrect, the bubbles will not be the same, resulting in rectangles that do not overlay. These rectangles, which remain at 127, will be discarded from the ultimate score calculation. With a new image of white rectangles at locations of correct answers, we are able to iterate through, counting every location at which an answer is correct. A counter is utilized to capture the sum associated with the number of white rectangles found. Additionally, regions of the Scantron sheet are sectioned off to eliminate any chance of error associated with the misidentification of circles in the Huff transform phase. Finally, to pay tribute to those lost to the failures of a once great academic institution, names, as well as university identification numbers, are recorded. This is accomplished by iterating through the gray rectangle image of the user's responses on the top half of the Scantron sheet. For every gray rectangle found in the name or UID regions, the horizontal and vertical coordinate locations are also recorded and compared with the correlating letter or number provided on the sheet. Once all numbers have been located, the names are reconstructed.
So, how did the algorithm do? Well, we only were able to test it on one of the sheets for time's sake, but on that sheet we detected 34 out of 32 correct responses, and those were at areas that answers weren't even supposed to be detected to begin with. So that's 34 out of 32, that's about a 6.25% error. How did we go about solving this? Well, we just drew out and defined boundaries for detection on the answer sheet manually with rectangles so that these stray detections would fall outside of the boundary and not be detected. So, pretty inconclusive result, I suppose. But, that's pretty much all that we're working with right about now at this day and age. Thank you for watching.